Yodel yodel, time to talk about races of Eberron. Yes, okay, alright, I'm getting organised. I do apologise if I seem like I might be... What is this? I'm watching an ad to my... Alright. It's weird. Why am I watching an ad? Okay, it's done. Sound check is sorted. We're all good. So let's get on with this, shall we? For those of you who haven't watched my live streams before, I basically present everything first, and once I've done that, I'll give you an opportunity to respond in the chat, in the live chat, answer questions, just have a discussion about things, or just say hi. If you're re-watching this video, then basically I'll put the start time down in the description so you can get past all of this gobbledygook that's going on right now. Other than that, we are ready to go, and I will start. Hi, welcome to HowtoDandD. My name is Fred Wheeler, and today I want to talk about Dungeons and Dragons. And today we're talking about the races of Eberron. Now, the Wayfarer's Guide to Eberron got dropped as a PDF. It's available. You can download it for a fee. And then, of course, they decided to release an Unearthed Arcana on those races, which is quite interesting, because they started off saying it was going to be a play test, and then they just retracted that part out of the original PDF, and now it's available. Anybody can play these races if they want to and play test them, which I think is a sensible thing to do. One of the things I find a little unusual is that, and everybody's wondering this, is how is it that we get Unearthed Arcana for Eberron, and we're also getting Unearthed Arcana for the races of Ravnica. I'm not going to be subtle about it. It's a bit of a weird one. I do understand, and people have got questions around it, but today we're going to talk about Eberron. And so I downloaded it, I've had a look at the document, and my first response was, well, I'm glad they have included some races for Eberron, but I also felt like a lot of the features with these races don't seem quite as strong as the ones that I saw in the Ravnica Unearthed Arcana. Now, this isn't completed documentation, right? So there's still more that could happen. It's not over yet. Let's start off anyway with the first one, which is the Changelings. Essentially, they decided to take the doppelganger and make it a playable character. That's essentially what I see the Changeling as. Now, they don't quite have the same features as the doppelganger, and they don't have any propensity to be evil or devious in any kind of way, but they are a hidden people, and they have lots of interesting features to them that make them highly desirable as a player to play, simply because of the ability to change their appearance. So let's have a look at their traits. So they get a ability score increase to charisma of 2. You can either increase your dexterity or your intelligence by 1, so you get to choose. Their age is a little bit different, but it's pretty similar to humans. And alignment, well, basically, Changelings hate to be bound in any way, so basically they're going to do their own thing. That's essentially how they are lined up. Then, of course, their size is pretty standard, it's medium. And then speed's pretty standard, it's just 30 feet. Then you get your change appearance. So as an action, you can transform your appearance or revert into your natural form. So basically, you can duplicate the appearance of a creature that you've never seen. Okay? Oh, sorry, you can't. So you have to have seen it, but you can modify that in some way, which I thought was quite good. It leaves a whole lot of things open. But also you can duplicate an exact replica of somebody else, which is the whole point behind it, right? So I don't want to go into that too much, but I can see something like the Changeling to be quite a popular option for players who are playing a very charismatic race, or even playing a rogue, because it'd be hugely beneficial. Changeling instincts. You gain proficiency in 2 of the following skills of your choice. You can have either deception, insight, intimidation, or persuasion, of which I think probably all 4 make perfect sense, and you get 2. That's pretty good. Unsettling Visage. So when a creature makes an attack and sees you, you can use your reaction to impose disadvantage on the attack roll. So basically you do something with your features or your appearance that scares them in some way. Essentially that's what I think that's trying to duplicate. And of course, if you want to use it again, you have to wait until you have finished a short or long rest. Divergent Personality. You gain proficiency with one tool of your choice. Sounds good, but when you use that particular proficiency, you get to double the bonus for the ability check. That's pretty powerful. In terms of languages, pretty standard. You get common and you get 2 other languages of your choice, which is certainly a lot better than some of the races I was talking about yesterday, races of Ravnica. Everybody seemed to be just common and that was it. So that is the Changeling. And I think the Changeling is probably one of the stronger options available in terms of all the options that they have presented so far. Okay, next we've got the Kalishtar. I hope I've pronounced it correctly. So basically you've got some sort of spirit who is embedded or part of you now from the plane of dreams. A spirit called a quarry has sort of become a part of you. And they're a combination of 2 races essentially. I think this is quite a cool idea. I like the idea of a spirit who is bound to your body and is trying to act as a voice of reason or a conscience. I think that's actually quite cool. And there's a whole bunch of Kalishtar quirks. There's a table of about 10 different things which you could just roll randomly, or maybe you just pick them. I like them. I think that's a really nice aspect to the race itself. Haunted by nightmares. So apparently you're going to be haunted by nightmares. I think there's a lot to be said for a character who has lots of baggage to begin with, and this race definitely has heaps and heaps of baggage. So what sort of traits do the Kalishtar have? So you get ability score increases, your wisdom and charisma scores, both increase by 1. And in addition, one ability score of your choice increases by 1. Now it doesn't state whether that be wisdom or charisma, so you could essentially, if you wanted to, make your wisdom go up by 2 rather than just 1, or make your charisma go up by 2 rather than just 1. So you could sort of stack that on. I like that idea. I'm sure a lot of people will utilise it. It provides a lot of flexibility. They develop pretty much the same way, have the same sort of lifespan in terms of age as most humans. Alignment. Okay, so they're supposed to be noble. There's a noble spirit within you, so in other words, good behaviour and lawful is pretty much how they sort of respond, but I always see alignment as something that is it's just a guide. And discussions with your dungeon master will solve a lot of your problems. They are medium sized like everything else, and typically a few inches taller than most humans. Same sort of speed as all the other races, really, 30 feet. Dual mind. So when you make a wisdom saving throw, you can use your reaction to gain advantage on the roll. I like the idea that you get increased ability to resist something that's affecting your mind. I think that's actually quite cool because of this other personality that is residing within you. Kind of a bit like a guardian angel, if you like. Mental discipline. So you're resistant to psychic damage. And then mind link. You can speak telepathically to any creature you can see within 60 feet. That's actually really useful. I don't know if you guys have realised, but something like comprehend languages only allows you to understand somebody who's speaking a language you don't normally speak. You can't actually communicate. You need to have something like tongues as the spell, or know that language. So mind link, hugely beneficial. Bonus action when speaking telepathically. It's not really something you're going to use in combat anyway. I think it's something you'll utilise as a utility aspect to the race outside of combat. Okay, psychic glamour. So choose one of the following skills: insight, intimidation, performance, or persuasion, and you have advantage on all the ability checks that you make with that skill. Okay, Alright, that's nice. It's pretty good. Severed, severed from dreams. Kalishtar sleep, but they don't connect to the plane of dreams as other creatures do. Instead, their minds draw from the memories of otherworldly spirits while they sleep. Blah-de, 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 blah. So you're immune to spells and other magical effects that require you to dream, like dream spell. Okay, alright. It's very, very situational, but not to spells that try to put you to sleep. Okay, so I don't know how useful that would be. It certainly fits with the theme and the idea behind the Kalishtar, but it's almost a forget about it, won't even exist. How often has anybody ever cast a spell called Dream? I don't know of anybody who's ever cast it, ever. Okay, languages. You can speak, read, write, Common and Quarry, and one other language of your choice. Pretty decent. Compared to the Ravnica races, they're certainly getting treated to a lot of different languages. Okay, so that is the Kalishtar. I like the Kalishtar, although I feel like it's not quite as impressive as the Changeling. That's just my view, anyway. Next is Shifters. My brother, my middle brother, should I say, he really liked Shifters. I remember him playing a Shifter. And these are basically somebody who's sort of touched by were creatures or they have a bestial aspect to them. They're not full-fledged lycanthropes, they're not werewolves or werebores or anything like that, but they do have the ability to shift and change depending on their mood and their desire. The beast within, so early from childhood they can shift their form and they have a bond with the beast that sort of is part of them. Similarity and diverse. So I think the fact that you've essentially got two dual identities. You've got the identity that is more human in nature, and then you have the identity which is more in line with the bestial nature that you have. And those are actually quite separate. Now let's have a look at the traits, and it was one of those things where I'm not quite sure what Wizards of the Coast are thinking, but if you have a look at the document, which I will include down in the description eventually, ability score increased. Your dexterity score increases by 1. That's it. That I don't understand. I don't understand why they would only allow your dexterity score to increase by 1. There's nothing else. Most other races are getting at least 3 points in some way to allocate to some of the other ability scores that they have. Whether it be 2 to 1 ability score and another 1 to another ability score. This is only giving you 1. This is really going to mean a lot of people probably won't play a shifter just for that very fact, because you're at a huge disadvantage compared to all the other races. And I like the idea of people playing different races other than human or human variant, and I feel like this is a bit of a disappointment as far as I'm concerned. Their age, they really live to 70, and apparently they reach adulthood at about 10. Alignment, tend to be neutral. Size, pretty much standard. They're going to be medium and about 5 to 7 feet tall. Speed, pretty standard again. But you do get dark vision. The fact that they get dark vision is good. Keen senses, so you have proficiency with perception skill and perception checks. And then shifting. As a bonus action, you can assume a more bestial form. This transformation lasts 1 minute, so long enough to deal with combat or until you die. Okay, so basically, I think that's probably the only part and aspect to it that sort of makes it seem quite cool. The only hassle is that the Changeling looks a lot more appealing than the Shifter. What sort of languages? The only language it knows is Common. I don't quite understand this, I really don't. And then sub-races. Now, so you get to pick a sub-race. So, Beast Hide, and, okay, so this is where the difference is. So you get your standard Shifter, and then you get to decide whether you're going to be a Beast Hide, a Wild Hunt, or a Swift Stride. or a long tooth. I was pretty sure there was a long tooth. I remember there being a long tooth in Dungeons and Dragons 4e. So the beast hide, you get a increase of 2 to your constitution, and you have tough, so you're proficient with athletics skill. Alright, it's not too bad, I guess, if you start thinking about it in that way. Shifting feature, when you shift you gain 1d6 additional temporary hit points while shifted. You have a +1 bonus to your AC. That's pretty decent. Okay, the long tooth. Okay, so you get an increase to your strength of +2. Your fierce, so you have proficiency with the intimidation skill. Your shifting feature, so while shifted you can use your elongated fangs to make an unarmed strike as a bonus action. That's quite good. That means you still got your action to use. If you hit with your fangs, you can deal piercing damage, 1d6 plus your strength modifier, including any bludgeoning damage normally from an unarmed strike. Okay, that's relatively decent. Still don't know that I necessarily would say it's on par with the Changeling. The Changeling just seems a lot more powerful to me. But this is all playtest, it's all going to change, right? The Swift Stride. So you get an increase to your ability score, that'll be Dexterity and Charisma, so 1 to each. And then your Graceful, so you have proficiency with Acrobatics. Swift Stride, so you can walk, your walking speed increases by 5 feet. You'd be surprised just how useful it is to have a faster movement speed, so that's not too bad. Your shifting feature, so while shifted, your walking speed increases by 5 feet. That's actually pretty good, but is it going to be enough? Additionally, you can move up to 10 feet as a reaction when an enemy ends its turn within 5 feet of you. This movement doesn't provoke attacks of opportunity. Now that's very powerful. I don't know that I necessarily think a lot of this is going to survive in its current form. Alright, Wild Hunt. You get an increase to your Wisdom score of 2. You are a natural tracker, so you have proficiency with survival. And then you get Mark the Scent. So as a bonus action, you can mark one creature you can see within 10 feet of you. Until the end of your next long rest, your proficiency bonus is doubled for any ability check you make to find the marked creature. Okay, you can't use this trait again until you've finished a long or short rest. I feel like this is, it's good, but it's situational. You need to have at least come in contact with the creature first, so it's going to be a little bit limited in what you can do with it. Shifting feature, so while shifted you have advantage on the wisdom checks. Okay, alright, that'll come up occasionally. And then let us move on to, I believe it is the last one, last of the races that there are to discuss. And that is the robot, the Warforged, built for war. And now there is no war, and so they've got to do something with themselves. They are constructs, and I can just see it now, the number of questions people are going to have about how healing magic affects the Warforged, or whether it does or whether it doesn't. And it's just going to be ongoing indefinitely, particularly once it's released as an official playable race. So living steel and stone, a blend of organic and inorganic materials, and suffused with alchemical fluids and muscles and bits and pieces like that. So it's essentially, I guess it's a bit like the ghost in the shell, the spirit embedded into the artificial body. They have their own personality, which is always nice, so it's a bit weird if you're only playing something that doesn't have any personality. They have quirks. Now, the fact that they have quirks, there's 10 of them. You can roll a 10-sided die, so you could just pick them. I think that's quite nice, the addition of that. And then, I'm not even going to go near the names, forget about that. Okay, so Warforged traits. Ability score increase, your constitution score increases by 1. Maximum lifespan remains a mystery. So there's no way of really knowing how old they will get. Typical Warforged are between 2 and 30 years old. So I guess that depends on when they were originally created. So that's the Warforged. Alignments, most of them are comfortable in order and discipline. So they're going to be mostly lawful. Size, pretty standard, just medium, 5 to 6.5 feet tall. Speed's pretty standard, just the 30 feet again. And then you get your Warforged Resilience, where you were created to have remarkable fortitude. And this is represented by a big string. Well, it's not a big string, but it's quite a lot. I think that's where most of the effort seems to be gone. I mean, the Warforged has actually been out before. It's not the first time we've seen it. You have advantage on saving throws against being poisoned and have resistance to poison damage. You are immune to disease. That's quite big. You don't need to eat, drink or breathe. Okay, so now you can walk underwater. You don't need to sleep and don't suffer from effects of exhaustion due to a lack of rest. Okay, in other words, you don't have to worry about how does that affect your long rest. Well, you don't need to sleep. You're probably still going to need to take a long rest to get back your spells, class features and other bits and pieces. But you don't need to sleep. I guess that means you can take the sentry duty all night long. Now everybody else can go have a snooze and you'll be fine, right? Alright, sentry's rest. When you have a long rest, you must spend at least 6 hours of it in inactive motion. Rather than sleeping in it. Okay, in this state you appear inert, but it doesn't render you unconscious. You can see and hear as normal. So there's the sentry duty. Essentially, it's going to be the Warforged's key aspect to those night camps. Integrated protection. Your body is built in protective layers which determine your armor class. You gain no benefit from wearing armor. Okay, alright, so don't worry about trying to build yourself something that's going to wear plate armor. That won't work. But you can use a shield. Oh, that's good. Alright, so here are the alterations, and there's quite a few. And I don't want to go over the different formulas, because there's essentially 3 formulas here. One for the Dark Ward core, which is unarmored. One for the composite plating armor, one for the heavy plating. And the formulas are pretty standard. I'm not going to go into that. Languages, you get common and sub-races. Well, yeah. So there's a whole bunch of sub-races. Envoy, this is sort of breaking it up a little bit like the Shifter. So you get an ability score increase to 2 different ability scores of your choice. That makes you very flexible in terms of how you build your character. Specialized design, so you gain 1 skill proficiency of your choice, 1 tool proficiency of your choice, and you're fluent in 1 language of your choice. Whoa, that's a fair amount. Integrated tools. Choose 1 tool you're proficient with. That tool is integrated into your body. Oh gosh, so you can't lose it, can't be stolen. And you double your proficiency bonus for any ability checks you make with it. Alright, so you must have a hand free to use it though. That's pretty impressive. I can see a lot of people wanting to play a Warforged, for sure. The Juggernaut option. Ability score increase, your strength score increases by 2. You have Iron Fist, so when you hit with an unarmed strike, you get to do 1d4 plus your strength modifier, bludgeoning damage, instead of the normal unarmed strike, which would normally just be 1 plus your strength modifier. So that's quite good. Powerful build, you count as 1 size larger when determining your carrying capacity and the weight you push, drag or lift. Yeah, the Juggernaut doesn't seem quite as impressive as the Envoy. Skirmisher. So ability score increases to dexterity, so you get an increase of 2. Your swift, your speed increases by 5 feet, and light step. So when you are traveling alone for extended periods, what do you mean when you are traveling alone? When are you going to be traveling? It's Dungeons and Dragons. You're going to be with other people. Alone for extended periods of time, 1 hour or more. You can move stealthily at normal pace. Oh god, oh, just forget about that one. That ain't going to get anywhere. I don't understand that at all. You've just built a mechanic that essentially says we are never going to use it unless we go off on our own and split the party. It's a bit weird. I don't understand that. It's weird. Personally, I think that the Changeling is certainly the better of all of the ones that have been presented so far. So yeah, that's essentially it. And obviously all the links will be down below as normal. So if you found it useful or helpful, I think most people at this present time have already checked out the Eberron race guide information, whether it be online watching YouTube or they've picked up the Unearthed Arcana. I know this is very late, but I just didn't get time, and I wanted to see what else would happen because I felt like they were shifting around quite a lot. What I will do is I will talk about Eberron a lot more, primarily because you have a situation where you've got a book being released for a campaign which a lot of people were kind of a little bit shocked by, and everybody was expecting Eberron. And so what's the deal? I honestly don't think it's going to change a lot. I think it just means that the time frame around the release of the Eberron as a campaign is just going to shift a little bit, and it'll probably get play tested a lot more compared to whatever you get from Ravnica. That's just my view on it. So yeah, if you found it useful or helpful, just share and like the video. If you're not subscribed to my channel and you like this sort of thing, then please subscribe, hit the bell button to be notified, and basically that'll let you know when I publish a new video or I go live, and I go live quite a lot. You have supported my channel by watching this video, and I do appreciate it. I have 500 more which you're welcome to go and watch. That would help me too. I don't do Patreon, but down in the description you'll find those affiliate link things to Amazon, the book depository, where you can buy stuff online. I get a small commission, and you don't have to pay any more than you normally would. Okay, it doesn't change that at all. Just go through the link, and you don't have to buy the thing that I've linked to. Just go and buy whatever you want to once you go through the link. That's it. So hang around, have a chat with me in the chat box if you want to. Otherwise, you know, tell me what you think of the races from Eberron. I personally think most of them are relatively tame, apart from the Changeling. I still think the Changeling is probably the big winner out of all of them. That's just my view. There are aspects to the Warforged that I certainly think almost sets it on par. The Warforged Envoy still looks like the strongest one to me, but this is all going to get shuffled around and tested. So I would suggest, if you really want to see the shape of Eberron move in a direction you want, is to give them feedback by playing these races in your games. But yeah, let me know down in the comments whether you like the races as they are, whether you think there's some changes that need to be made, and that's all I think we need to say for today. And hey, till next time, keep rolling those 20s. How's it going, Eric? My sound check is good. I don't know if you're still around, Eric, but that took quite a long time. That's quite a long document. It's funny because I was looking at it and I was thinking, this is actually going to be a little bit harder to actually present in a short space of time compared to everything else. But there's nothing coming through on the chat, so I think that pretty much says, Fred, you can go, which is great news. What is likely to happen tomorrow? So what am I doing tomorrow? Well, my plan for tomorrow is to answer the question that a lot of people have been asking themselves and suspicious of, and that is, I'm going to talk about the future of Dungeons and Dragons. I've got a pretty good notion as to what's happening and what you can expect in the future, and I wanted to talk about it for ages that I just haven't got to it. So I will talk about it, and that'll be the topic for tomorrow, as long as I do my homework fast enough. I have about half an hour to put it all together and then go to bed and then write some notes, but most of it, I did about half the work already, so it's pretty much there. And as I said, man, I encourage you to play different races. I always thought races and backgrounds were one of the best aspects of Dungeons and Dragons, particularly Dungeons and Dragons 5e. So look forward to tomorrow's live stream. It should be, I'm gonna say it now, tomorrow's live stream I will talk about things that are definitely going to happen, but I am going to definitely do a bit of it'll be tongue-in-cheek. There'll be a bit of tongue-in-cheek involved in there, just because I can't help myself. Alright, thank you for showing up, Eric. Thank you for the response. And I'm going to go and do some homework, because that's what I need to do at this point. I'll see you later.